Seniors, add this to your coffee, stop muscle loss and fight sarcopenia fast. There's something quietly powerful about your morning coffee. It's a ritual, a moment of calm, a spark that helps you start your day. But what if I told you that this daily habit could do far more than wake you up? What if, with one small addition, your morning cup could help you preserve your strength, protect your independence, and even fight one of the most overlooked biological processes of aging? Here's the surprising truth. By the time we reach our 60s, we begin losing muscle mass at a rate of up to 1% per year, even if we stay relatively active. This process, known as sarcopenia, isn't just about strength or vanity. It's directly tied to balance, metabolism, cognitive health, and even longevity. And it's not just the natural aging process. It's a neurological and hormonal phenomenon, and it can be slowed dramatically, even reversed, through targeted interventions. Today, I want to show you one of those interventions. Not a supplement or a workout plan, though those matter too, but something you can add directly to your morning coffee, starting tomorrow. What we're talking about is simple. It's backed by neuroscience and muscle physiology, and it works by activating key muscle-preserving pathways in the body, particularly a molecule called leucine, and a powerful process known as muscle protein synthesis. In this episode, I'd still walk you through 6 powerful ideas, the real reason sarcopenia accelerates after 60, and what your nervous system has to do with it, why muscle isn't set just meat. It sets an endocrine organ essential for brain and metabolic health, the amino acid that acts like an ignition switch for building muscle, even in older adults. What adding one specific ingredient to your coffee can do for your strength and energy, when to consume protein, and why timing is more important than most people realize. A simple, science-backed daily protocol to fight muscle loss without overhauling your lifestyle. Whether you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, or you're simply planning for a strong, vibrant future, this is for you. Let's dive into the science, and more importantly, the tools that can help you move through life with strength, clarity, and confidence. Sarcopenia is not just about aging. It's about signaling failure. If you've noticed that your arms or legs feel a little weaker than they used to, or that climbing stairs takes more effort than it once did, you're not imagining it. But here's the part most people don't realize. It's not just aging. It's a breakdown in communication. Let's break that down. Inside your muscles, there's a highly responsive communication system, a network of signals between your nervous system, your hormones, and your muscle fibers. This system regulates how your body builds or breaks down muscle tissue. When we're younger, this signaling is robust. But as we move into our 60s and beyond, something called anabolic resistance begins to take hold. Think of anabolic resistance like static on a phone line. The signal, in this case, amino acids or exercise, is trying to tell your body it's time to build muscle. But the body doesn't hear it as clearly anymore. The machinery still works, but the volume of the signal needs to be turned up. Here's what the research shows. A 2016 review in Aging Research Reviews found that the blunted muscle response to protein intake in older adults isn't because the muscle tissue can't grow, it's because the signaling cascade is less sensitive. That means, if we can amplify the signal, we can preserve and even rebuild muscle. And here's where things get empowering. The nervous system, particularly the motor neurons that innervate muscle fibers, plays a direct role in maintaining muscle tone and strength. When those neurons become less active due to lack of stimulus, disuse, or poor nutrition, the muscle atrophies. But studies from the Journal of Physiology show that even light resistance training and proper protein timing can restore neuromuscular activation, even in adults over 70. In other words, the body still remembers how to grow stronger. It just needs the right inputs. A simple tool to apply is this. Start thinking of your meals, your movements, and your mindset as signals, each one either reinforcing strength or allowing decline. The food you eat, That's not just fuel, it's information. And the first step in this protocol is to start turning up the volume on those muscle-building signals, especially in the morning when your body is naturally more responsive to insulin and amino acids. Next, we'll look at why muscle isn't just about mobility, but deeply tied to brain health, metabolism, and even mood regulation. If this insight is already shifting how you think about strength and aging, consider subscribing. We dive deep into science-backed tools like this every week, and this journey is just getting started. Muscle is a metabolic and cognitive powerhouse, not just for movement. When most people hear the word muscle, they think of biceps, leg strength, or the ability to carry groceries. But here's something the average health conversation misses entirely. Muscle is not just mechanical, it's biochemical. And it's essential for the brain. What's happening in your body and your brain when you maintain muscle mass goes far beyond movement. Muscle is in fact a metabolically active endocrine organ. That means it doesn't just respond to hormones, it produces them. Specifically, muscle tissue releases signaling molecules called myokines, which act like messengers between your muscles, brain, immune system, and even fat cells. Here's what the research shows. Studies from the Journal of Clinical Investigation and Nature Reviews Endocrinology reveal that certain myokines, like irisin and brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, are released during muscle contraction. These molecules enhance neuroplasticity, reduce neuroinflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. In simpler terms, the more active your muscles, the sharper your brain, and the steadier your energy. Ever noticed how a brisk walk clears your mind? That's not just oxygen flow. That's chemistry. That's signaling. And when we lose muscle, which happens more rapidly after 60, we don't just lose strength. We lose part of our cognitive defense system. We become more vulnerable to insulin resistance, brain fog, and systemic inflammation. This is why sarcopenia has been linked in multiple studies to increased risk of mild cognitive impairment and even dementia. It's not because muscles operate in isolation. It's because the body is an integrated system, and when one part declines, others follow. So what's the actionable insight here? A simple tool to apply is this. Start viewing muscle maintenance not as a vanity project, but as a foundational strategy for mental clarity, blood sugar control, and emotional regulation. And this is where your morning coffee can become more than just caffeine. Next, we'll dive into a specific amino acid, leucine, that acts like a switch for turning on muscle protein synthesis. You'll learn why just eating more protein isn't enough, and how targeting this key nutrient can help restore your muscle-building machinery, starting from the inside out. And if this deeper understanding of how muscle affects not just your body but your brain resonates with you, I invite you to like this video or drop a comment below. Your feedback shapes this community, and these ideas are meant to be shared. The amino acid that acts like a light switch for muscle growth. Let's talk about protein, and why not all protein is created equal. If you're over 60, you've likely heard you should get more protein. But here's the thing, getting more isn't always the answer. Getting the right kind in the right amount, at the right time, that's what flips the switch. And that switch has a name. Leucine. Leucine is one of the 3 branched-chain amino acids, alongside isoleucine and valine. But leucine is special. It's the primary activator of the mTOR pathway, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin, a cellular signaling hub that tells your body, build muscle now. Think of mTOR like the ignition in a car. Protein alone is the gas in the tank, but leucine is the key in the ignition. Without enough of it, your body won't turn on the muscle-building engine, no matter how much protein you've consumed. Here's what the research shows. A pivotal study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults required nearly double the leucine threshold to stimulate muscle protein synthesis compared to younger adults. That's due to the anabolic resistance we discussed earlier. In other words, the signal isn't broken, it just needs to be louder. So what does that mean in practice? A simple tool to apply is this. Aim to get at least 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal, especially in your first meal of the day, ideally within 1 hour of waking. Why? Because your body is more insulin sensitive in the morning, and this improves your ability to shuttle amino acids into the muscle cells effectively. Here's STIDS, where coffee comes in. Instead of drinking your coffee alone, which can raise cortisol and delay your first nutrient signal, try adding a leucine-rich protein to it. Options include a scoop of high leucine whey protein isolate, a fortified collagen blend with added BCAAs, or a clean essential amino acid powder stirred directly into your coffee or smoothie. This turns your coffee into a muscle-activating signal, not just a stimulant. You're feeding your brain, your metabolism, and your longevity, not just your caffeine habit. And here sips a thought. What if the first thing you consumed each day wasn't just a boost for your brain, but a message to your entire body? Stay strong, keep building. That sips the opportunity in front of you. Coming up next, we'll connect the dots. Why adding leucine to your coffee isn't just effective, it's more effective in the morning than later in the day. Timing, as you'll see, is a critical lever for muscle health, and we're going to show you how to pull it. If this insight into leucine is shifting your perspective, go ahead and subscribe. Not for vanity metrics, but because staying informed is a form of self-respect. You deserve the latest science in your hands. The connection. Why morning timing supercharges this effect. Let's return to your morning routine. That moment when the world is quiet, the coffee's brewing, the day hasn't taken hold yet. Now imagine that first cup, not just waking you up, but actively helping you preserve muscle, regulate metabolism, and align with your body's natural biology. Because here's what most people don't realize. The timing of your protein, especially leucine, matters as much as the amount. What's happening in your body during the first few hours of the day is like a biochemical window opening up. Your insulin sensitivity is naturally higher, meaning your cells are more responsive to nutrients. Your cortisol levels, which rise naturally upon waking, are also peaking, making this an ideal time to signal adaptation through targeted nutrition. When you combine protein, specifically leucine-rich protein, with your morning coffee, you are aligning 3 critical biological levers: circadian insulin sensitivity, which helps shuttle amino acids into muscle more effectively; cortisol sips catabolic nature, which can be buffered and redirected toward recovery if protein is consumed; neurochemical alertness, where caffeine enhances motivation and dopamine tone, making new habits easier to adopt. Here's what the research shows. A study published in Frontiers in Physiology found that muscle protein synthesis is more responsive to protein intake earlier in the day than at night, especially in older adults. In fact, late-day protein feeding is often less efficient due to decreased digestive enzyme activity and lower hormonal sensitivity. Translation: your body is primed for muscle-preserving signals in the morning. So what does this mean for your coffee? A simple protocol to apply is this. Within 1 hour of waking, prepare your usual coffee, but add a scoop of high-quality protein, aiming for 25 to 30 grams total, with at least 2.5 grams of leucine. Mix it thoroughly. Warm liquids help most powders dissolve easily. Drink it mindfully, ideally before or after a light movement session, like a walk or gentle stretching. Avoid delaying this meal too long. Waiting past mid-morning may reduce the anabolic response. This isn't about adding one more thing to your routine. It's about integrating a simple behavior into something you already do. It starts less effort, more alignment. And what you start doing is powerful. You start not just consuming caffeine, you start sending a signal to your body. Preserve, protect, adapt, stay strong. Next, we'll explore this idea of timing even further, and how spreading out your protein across the day may actually be less effective than concentrating it into key windows. If you've been told to just graze throughout the day, you'll want to hear this. And if you're finding value in this breakdown of biology, behavior, and better habits, hit that like button or share this with someone who needs it. This is about building resilience together. Timing is a tool, not a guess. If you've ever been told to eat smaller meals more often to support muscle or metabolic health, it's time to re-examine that advice, especially if you're over 60. Because here sits what the research now shows. For aging adults, spreading protein evenly across 5 or 6 mini-meals may actually lead to weaker muscle-building signals compared to taking in larger high-quality doses at key points during the day. Let's break down why. Earlier we talked about anabolic resistance, your body's reduced sensitivity to muscle-building signals as you age. That resistance means it takes a stronger signal to stimulate muscle protein synthesis (MPS). If the protein intake at a meal is too low, especially in leucine, the signal never gets loud enough to flip that switch. So what's happening when you nibble throughout the day? You may never hit the threshold needed to trigger a muscle response. In contrast, research from McMaster University and studies published in the Journal of Nutrition show that bolus-style protein intake, meaning fewer meals with larger, more leucine-rich servings, produces greater MPS in older adults than evenly distributed intake. Think of it like trying to light a fire. A few scattered sparks won't do much, but one strong, focused flame that gets it going. A simple tool to apply is this. Structure your day around 2 high-impact meals, each with at least 25 to 30 grams of complete protein and 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine, one of them being your first meal with coffee, as we've already discussed. Here's a sample rhythm. Morning within 60 minutes of waking. Coffee plus whey protein isolate or leucine-fortified collagen blend. Optional light activity like walking to increase muscle insulin sensitivity. Afternoon or early evening, around your most active part of the day. A full protein-rich meal, salmon, eggs, lentils, or tempeh, with vegetables and healthy fats. Avoid eating too late, as digestion and hormonal sensitivity decline in the evening. And here sits a mindset shift. Rather than seeing meals as snacks or calories, view them as signals, biochemical messages telling your body what to repair, preserve, or rebuild. Protein isn't just fuel, it's instruction, and timing those instructions correctly gives you leverage, helping you hold on to lean mass, regulate blood sugar, and stay metabolically agile well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Next, we'll bring it all together into a clear, daily protocol. No gimmicks, just science-backed simplicity. You'll walk away knowing exactly how to structure your morning routine and daily meals to stop muscle loss in its tracks. And if this insight about protein timing helped clarify things, let us know in the comments. We read every one, and your feedback helps shape future episodes. The Daily Protocol, a simple routine to preserve strength without changing your entire life. We've explored the science. Now, let's put it to work. Because at the end of the day, knowledge only changes your life if it changes your behavior. And the good news is, you don't need to overhaul your entire lifestyle to see real benefits. You need a few targeted, evidence-based shifts and a clear system. So here's your daily protocol for preserving muscle and fighting sarcopenia, starting with your morning coffee. Morning prime the system. Wake up and move your body within 30 minutes. This could be a 10-minute walk, light stretching, or gentle bodyweight exercises. Why? Movement activates motor neurons and increases muscle sensitivity to nutrients. Within 60 minutes of waking, consume a high leucine protein with your coffee. Add 25 to 30 grams of whey protein isolate or leucine-fortified collagen to your morning coffee or smoothie. Look for 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine in your serving. This initiates muscle protein synthesis when your body is most receptive. Avoid drinking plain black coffee on an empty stomach. It may spike cortisol and miss a critical window for nutrient signaling. Midday. Feed the system. Have a second protein-rich meal 4 to 6 hours later. Prioritize whole foods with complete amino acid profiles: wild salmon, pasture-raised eggs, tempeh, lentils, or grass-fed meats. Add color to your plate with cruciferous vegetables, greens, and healthy fats. Don't graze. Avoid small, frequent meals that don't meet the protein threshold. Think quality and quantity, not constant nibbling. Evening. Maintain don't overload. Keep your evening light, physically and digestively. Late eating may impair sleep and reduce overnight recovery. If you do eat, keep it simple: broth-based soups, a boiled egg, or plant-based protein if needed. Prioritize sleep. Muscle regeneration is governed by growth hormone, and deep sleep is when that system kicks in. Weekly movement goal: activate the pathways. Even if you stir not weight training, you can still stimulate muscle signaling. Aim for 2 to 3 sessions/week of bodyweight resistance work. Chair squats, push-ups against the wall, resistance bands. Daily low-impact movement like walking, tai chi, or yoga. Focus on compound movements, those that recruit multiple muscle groups at once. Remember, movement is a signal. Even modest resistance activates the mTOR pathway and protects your neuromuscular system. And here's the mindset I want to leave you with. Every choice, every meal, every movement, every morning is a conversation between you and your biology. You're not just managing aging, you're training adaptation. You're choosing strength over stagnation. And you don't need perfect conditions. Just small, consistent inputs that speak clearly to your body. Keep building, keep growing, stay strong. Finally, we'll wrap this all up, reviewing the key takeaways, reconnecting to the why, and offering a simple challenge to help you start today. If this protocol feels accessible, inspiring, or clarifying, take a second to like the video or share it. We're building a grounded, science-literate community, and your presence here matters. Let's bring this full circle. You started this video with a simple question: can something as small as what I add to my coffee really help me fight muscle loss? And now, you know the answer. Backed by physiology, neuroscience, and human performance research, is a confident yes. Here's what we uncovered. Sarcopenia isn't just about getting older. It's about the body becoming less responsive to the signals that drive growth and repair. Muscle isn't just tissue. It's a hormone-secreting, brain-supporting, metabolism-regulating organ. One amino acid, leucine, plays the role of biochemical ignition switch, turning on your body's ability to preserve and build muscle, and adding it to your morning coffee, timed with your body's natural circadian rhythm and insulin sensitivity, turns a passive routine into a powerful health intervention. When you combine this with focused meal timing and light, consistent movement, you start not just maintaining muscle, you start upgrading the way your entire body functions. This isn't about perfection. It's about leverage. The smallest hinge can swing the biggest door, and for many, that hinge is your morning coffee. So here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, try it. Before emails, before errands, before the world gets loud, choose to send your body one powerful message. You are still strong. You are still adaptive. You are still worth building. And then, build. Add that protein. Take that walk. Make breakfast count. Make movement count. And let that first moment of the day be one of intentional strength. This is what it means to age intelligently, not to passively decline, but to actively direct your biology with the best that science and self-awareness can offer. If this episode gave you something useful, a shift in perspective, a habit to try, or a new sense of motivation, I invite you to join us. Hit the like button, subscribe, Leave a comment sharing how you'll apply what you learned. We're building a grounded, evidence-based community focused on strength, not just of the body, but of the mind. Because aging isn't a loss, it's a chance to train differently. And the future, it sits not written. It sits chosen. One cup at a time.